I was walking the other day and it began to rain. The wind started awakening the trees as the small raindrops began blowing on my face. Well, I noticed some dark clouds earlier before I set out to get some exercise. Of course, I ignored the signs, as we sometimes do. Sometimes we ignore warning signs. And as I increased my pace, it didn't matter because I was caught in a rainstorm without protection and getting soaked. Now as I think back to it, I do remember the weatherman saying something about strong storms that would be developing and coming our way. But I really didn't believe him because the storms were way off. Those storms belonged to someone else because I couldn't see them or I couldn't feel them. Well, sometimes we fail to prepare for the storms that are not ours, storms that are meant for others. And as the rain began to multiply, my mind soon began reflecting back on my childhood memories. You see, as youngsters, we used to play in the rain all the time. We would race matchsticks, ride bikes. We would even play football in the rain until someone would mess around and get hurt. Man, messing up a perfect game. Ask any little boy and they'll tell you rainstorms are not meant to stop the fun. A little rain or a major storm is not meant to stop achievement or believing. Storms are not meant to stop progress. When I was young, I remember we used to go fishing on rainy days because they say that's when the fish bite better. Have you ever heard that? The fish bite better on rainy days? Well, you can't always believe what you hear because there were many times when we came home empty-handed without success. After a storming, raining day, sometimes an empty basket and an empty belly makes you more determined to retrace those same steps until success is found. I hope y'all hear me today. You see, fishers of men don't mind getting caught in a strong rainstorm because they understand the promise of being protected and covered. I want to tell you today that there are two types of protection. Protection from above and protection from a system of entrenchment. If you don't belong to either, then you probably wake up every morning frustrated with your situation. Many receiving privileged protection are succeeding and thriving. Protected with waterproof rain jackets and small tents to escape the storms, especially if it becomes too windy. With that type of protection, it's easy to become arrogant and to feel greater than, as the unprotected live in the maximum grind for the minimum wages of life. On good days, we celebrate with phone calls of self-gratification. But regardless of our results, we must be prepared for our own journey. Those that are left out, locked out, must grind to equalize the protected route or prepare for a more challenging fishing trip or a more challenging experience. Many Americans do not have tents or waterproof jackets or blankets for protection as they get caught in the rain and the storms of life. American equality must protect all, including the Mexican Americans, the African Americans, which will lead to a better path for all Americans. The Native Americans' waterproof teepee served as protection. We must build a better life, a better pathway for the Native Americans left on Indian reservations. We must remember the ancestors, the land, the spirits reduced to floating streams of lost opportunities, and the acres of graveyard poverty. The native Indian respected the land and its inhabitants, sharing animal skins of warmth and civility. We must remember the natives. We must never forget the teepees that were set ablaze to make room for the fishing tents of today, the tents of protective arrogance and hate. Never forget the good old days of abundance for all. We must remember the great land of America, the roaming buffaloes, the hides, the skins, the furs, the roaming spirits that were taken, stolen, and hunted down, or traded for a bottle of juice to keep strong minds juiced. God bless the Native American Indian. We must remember the native stories of bravery instead of the whitewashed fiction that include Marvel heroes and justified slavery. The Native American Indian, the Mexican American, and the African American family should be lifted as heroes of the heroes, the true builders of the American dream. Statues and monuments should be erected, protected, and not rejected. Statues of hate should be replaced by American heroes that were great, especially within our hearts. These groups have seen many Trayvon Martins, many George Floyds, and many Sandra Blands, and many Breonna Taylors. We are all in this together. Father, the Native Americans and the Mexican Americans and the African Americans are tired. To be honest, many white Americans are tired also. Tired of carrying the burden, the useless burden of hate that continues to separate. But we will never forget or give in. Something is moving. I repeat, something is moving. Many will come home and celebrate a sinister day of hunting and fishing. We must remember those lost to a sinister hunt. This is not a race war, but it's a war to end the chase. We must never forget the opportunities taken from our grandchildren. We must remember the sacrifices of our great-grandparents. We must grind with an effort of 110, because the opportunities that our lost ancestors received were thinner than thin. Many have died and sacrificed for a better America. Forced jackings, desperate hackings, hate and privileged arrogance attacking. And we must remember the starving pain of hunger, the historic pain of a nation sealed and dealing in a desperate plunder. 400 years of fishing. For others, it's been a shorter trip. I know the natives are tired and wet, but I know you're determined because we are well equipped. It's raining in America. America, it's raining. We must always remember the celebration of liberty that became our deliberation of inequity. Father, I thank you for the rain, but Father, I ask that you share the pain. The pain makers of injustice must understand that America needs a more inclusive, better plan. Well, wake up, America. It's still raining. I'm so glad that I got caught in the rain today. Now I understand why, as a youngster, we loved to play in the rain. It was to prepare us for the pain and the gain. God bless you today. And I'll talk to you later.